The bridge between high school and university is most of the time too big. There is an estimate that 9% of the students desert their first semester. The main reason for this desertion are a lack of trust between the student and their teachers when asking for help, and limited schedules when in need of tutoring and difficulty at the moment of searching for answers.
So, with these problems in mind, we came up with the idea of developing a brand new platform that allows students and tutors to connect between. So, we identified our first use case, which was scheduling a tutoring, which was included at our first alpha. This is a live demo of our prototype at swe.abstrakty.com.
At first, creating that documentation was very tedious, and we got to the point of thinking that it was going to be useless. We weren't even going to use it. But after writing a couple hundred lines of code, we understood how important it was to create this documentation. Yes, it takes even more time than just writing code, but in the long run, it becomes more maintainable. It's a lot easier to write more code for future specifications. Right now, we're using a Mago de Oz technique, and this is basically to speed up the process of making money. Later on, we're going to move on to our beta. And with our documentation, it's going to be a lot easier to reuse our code. If we didn't have this documentation, we would have to erase all our code and start all over again. At first, we thought that documentation would only help us in the future. But once the three of us started coding on our project, we found out how useful it is even in our current state. And this is basically because we don't have to understand every single piece of code. We can just go to our documentations and read the class specifications, the user case, and everything that has to do with the code we wrote.
So let's break into our prototype. First, when we first enter at swe.abstrakty.com, we find our logo and a single button that gets us to our only use case, that is scheduling a session. So let's get in, we make a click, and we find a wizard where we can schedule a session. First, at the background, the system gets a list of subjects that we can go for. And this time we have math, physics, and programming. Let's pick programming. Each time that we click next, the system updates the session details, so the system can find some tutoring matches we can select. So let's click next. Then we can pick a date, a time, and session duration. Here we can know that if we click next, we cannot move forward because we are required to fill the fields. So let's pick the date. December 6th will do it. Then maybe 12 p.m. and let's pick 30 minutes. Now yes, we click next, and then we are prompted with a list of tutors that we can go with. And there is their info, their profile photo, their name, and their specialty, their writing, and all that stuff in a single and beautiful looking card. So let's pick Carlos, then we click next, and finally we have a card that is a review card. So here we have the subject and the icon of subject, the date and time, and the tutor we choose. So at this time we are ready to submit our scheduling. So we are only have to select the confirm button, but let's try, and we are going to read the subject. We missed and we are going to choose math now. So let's click next and a review. Now the programming tutorial, now it's a math tutorial. So finally let's click confirm, and it says the session has been scheduled successfully. What does that mean? That the session has been received at the database and is stored now. Let's click OK, and we finally get into the main stream.